I lost my friend by crossing her boundaries without recognizing it. Hi, this is a throwaway account just in case anyone I know finds this story. I doubt it. I apologize for the long rant, but this has been weighing heavily on my heart and mind for almost a year. I, 21F, was dropped and blocked by my one of best friends of over 7 years. Semi-relevant information: it is suspected that I have high-functioning autism. I have always struggled with social cues, conversations, and indirect rules. I don't have the resources right now to get an official diagnosis, and if you're thinking, she must be following a social media fad of being late diagnosed, I honestly don't know myself. It explains a lot about my life when I look back on it. My past therapist agrees with the idea, and so do a lot of people around me, but I worry that I'm not, because even though I've struggled differently with living than other people, I still don't have faith in my own self-diagnosis, but I understand that autism is a spectrum. Anyway, I digress. For the sake of the story, I'll call my old friend Ella. Me and Ella met in school after I was paired with her for a school assignment. She was very quiet and to herself, and I don't think I would have noticed her much if we hadn't been paired up. I wasn't popular, in fact I was the opposite. I was bullied, but I still made pretty good friends, as I've always prided myself on having real friends and not being friends with just anyone and everyone. We had a friend group that stuck together through the end of school, and after that everyone watched each other from afar, but we still supported each other. Ella helped me through a lot. She was never rude about my quirks, and we joked so much that a lot of times we were threatened to be separated by teachers. We were always giggly and happy. We invited each other to our birthdays, special life events, and more. When I went through my depression, she was right there, always caring for me and giving me encouraging words. I don't think I can describe just how much we went through and how much she meant to me. The most I could say is she was like a sister to me, to the point where my parents referred to her as their child too, not that she didn't have her own family. She even surprised me by applying and getting the same job I had. I didn't know until I saw my manager showing her how to clock in, and I tackled and hugged her. She was a constant in my life and the first person I told about everything, sad, happy, weird, whatever. I tried to be the same for her, but she wasn't a big sharer. I don't mean that I didn't listen, but that she didn't share a lot. Just surface things. No one knew all of what she went through, her family, her other friends, or even the few boyfriends she had. Whenever she needed something, I was ready to drop everything for her. If she needed to rant, I stopped everything and answered her calls. When I could finally drive, I planned a whole bunch of stuff for us to do and have fun. Now to the main point. As I said, she didn't share much about her life. We didn't have many boundaries for our friendship, normal things like don't date our exes, call each other out for stupid stuff, etc. The first time I fucked up was when she was at my house, and her mother came to pick her up. While she was getting ready, I was talking to her mom. We were talking about our futures in college, and I ended up telling her mom that she said she was going to college for the arts. I didn't know that she didn't talk to her mom about stuff like this. Apparently her mom wanted her to pursue traditional career paths, like a lawyer, doctor, etc. Her mom showed no sign that she was disappointed or angry, just a little shocked, but it didn't click for me. Ella told me afterwards not to talk to her mom about those things because she doesn't talk to her mom about that stuff. Her mom isn't abusive or anything, she just has high expectations, and Ella doesn't like to have conversations about her life with certain people, so she preferred to keep that between our friends. I of course apologized and noted it so that going forward I avoided those topics with her mom. The second incident was when I talked to her older sister about a year or two after the first incident. I'll call her Ava. Me and Ava weren't as close, but considering I was over Ella's place a lot, we were still friendly. We ran into each other at the store and got to talking. She asked me how life was going, and at the time my only goal was to move out of my parents' place, as I wanted more space. But due to my quirks, I didn't want to move with anyone but Ella, as she was the only person I could think of that wasn't loud, wasn't a party person, and wouldn't trigger my meltdowns. She was clean, organized, and I felt she would have been perfect to move in with. And considering the economy, it's not realistic to move in by yourself anywhere. Ella had been considering it, but when she got a boyfriend, who no one knew anything about, she decided she was going to move in with him. I told Ava about how I wanted to move in with Ella, but she was going to move in with her boyfriend. I thought at least her family would have known her boyfriend, but apparently they didn't. I also expressed that I was sad about being passed over for someone no one knew, and that I didn't think it was a good idea because I don't believe in moving in with someone you've only known for a couple of months, but I also expressed that it's Ella's life and she has no obligation to me and to follow what I say. The most I could do was be supportive for her. I do acknowledge that it wasn't my place to express my opinion about her decisions and what she did, but it had affected me as I had to rewrite my plan of moving, as we had already made a budget plan, talked about several apartment complexes and how we were going to split the bills and even decorate. When Ava went home, she told her mom, and they both grilled Ella about it. Ella got angry and fussed at me not to talk to her sister about her life or decisions. I apologized because I thought she only didn't talk to her mom. I know friends who talk to their siblings but not their parents, and I thought this was the general thing. For me, I tend to think that one rule applies to others unless I'm told otherwise. I don't know other family dynamics, so if and when my friends would tell me theirs, it kind of expanded my own personal references. But I didn't know Ella's, and I thought was just no parents, but now I knew, no siblings too. The third and final strike was last year, about a month before my 21st birthday. I ran into Ava again. I remembered my previous conversation with Ella and tried to restrict my conversation. My boyfriend was even there to make sure I didn't go overboard or overshare, as I tend to do. She asked how I was doing, of course, and talked about how she hadn't seen me in a while. That was because Ella had been ditching me for a new boyfriend. For about 6 months, I had been planning days out with her. Setting aside specific days and times, planning ahead and saving money so I could spend money on her. I wanted to take her to several new restaurants I had been to, stores, activities like mini golfing, or arcades, or even seeing movies. But each time she had been ghosting me until hours after we're supposed to meet and letting me know that she was unavailable because she was with her boyfriend. He lived in the state over and was driving to see her and bring her back with him, and they'd be hanging out. This wasn't 1 or 2 times, it was about once to 2 times a month. Ella was a late texter, everyone knew this. So the last time I had tried to hang out with her, I planned something a month ahead, as usually I did a week or 2 ahead. If I texted her on Monday, she'd respond by Wednesday or Thursday. She didn't respond to calls, or if she did, she answered just to let me know she was too busy to talk and she'd text me. This time, I planned the month ahead, texted her once a week to check that she was still down to hang, and even told her the plan. I would pick her up from work or her house, she had to let me know, then we would go eat as I figured she'd be hungry after work, then we'd go do some fun activities and I could return her home. She confirmed every week that she was still down. The day of, I texted and called her so I could know if she wanted me to pick her up from work or home. She didn't respond until almost 2 hours after she was supposed to be off work, telling me she was with her boyfriend, in the state over. I cried because I was trying so hard. I let her know if she needs time and space from me, that's okay, just let me know rather than ditching me, and I was hurt by how much effort I was trying to put into still hanging out and it was being thrown out the window. She apologized and told me she was just busy with life, and I told her just let me know when she wants to hang out rather than me reaching out, so it'd be on her terms. I didn't tell Ava all of this, just surface stuff, like I had been planning days out and she wasn't responding or she was ghosting me. I even said that I understand that she wants to have a stable relationship and hang out with her boyfriend, and I'm happy for her. I was just concerned because no one knows this guy, and if something ever happens I'm here for her, and I just worry that he's taking her a state away, somewhere she doesn't know. But she's grown now, and she can make her own choices. I'm not her mom, her sister, or even her guardian. She's my friend, and all I can do is be here if she ever needs. That's all I said. Then I proceeded to TMI her about my own life. I even checked in with my BF after the conversation because I was worried that I had overshared, and he acknowledged. I only referenced how things affected me. Not what she was doing in deep detail, and only her life. Also to note, Ava suggested that she talk to her sister about ditching me, but I told her not to as I thought it was unnecessary. We're living our own lives and she didn't have responsibility to me. I just would have preferred her letting me know that she was going to hang with her boyfriend. Ava still went home and talked to her. I don't know what she said, but Ella was furious and sent me a rant saying that I keep talking shit about her behind her back, and if I continue like this she doesn't know how we could stay friends. She said that I have no business talking about her and she doesn't need anyone looking out for her as she can handle her own. I know it may seem like I'm leaving out stuff, but I honestly didn't know where this came from. I don't talk about her to anyone but my family, and it's mostly about how I miss her. I don't even talk about her to our friends. I had only seen and talked to her sister twice. It seemed completely out of left field for her to assume that I was talking shit. I showed the message to my boyfriend, my mom, and even my other best friend to double check if I was missing something. I was told over and over that I was in the right. I applied her boundaries in what she told me, and if I told Ava what Ella did and how it affected me, and by avoiding detail of Ella's life, I was respecting the boundaries set for me. Yes, the 2 strikes were fair ground as I didn't know her family dynamics, but the 3rd strike she completely changed. She blocked me from everything. I fell into depression and stopped going out. I wasn't eating, I was crying every day, racking my brain and replaying the conversation. I kept cursing myself out for being so dense, for my autism, for being too much and being too clingy. I kept listing everything wrong with me. I considered trying to find therapy again, but I couldn't find anyone. I canceled my birthday because I didn't want to celebrate it without her. I was rereading the text messages and tried to figure out where I went wrong. I thought maybe she was sick of me, that I was too clingy. I tried to space out hangouts so I wasn't always over her shoulder. Anyone who knew the situation tried to reassure me, as they know me as one of the people they can trust, that I don't talk shit about people behind their backs. I'm very blunt and truthful. If I don't like someone, I don't go out of my way to see them, hang around them, or even talk to them. They say I'm selfless and even give myself a little too much to everyone. But it's been almost a year and my heart still hurts. I wanted to be able to talk to her to get closure and understanding. To understand where this new perspective of me came from, to talk about what happened, as I'm not sure what her sister said, if anyone else said anything, to understand her perspective on stuff. I've spent the past year trying to catch myself with oversharing and overtalking. I am hyperverbal, and I've asked those closest to me to help steer me in conversations. To give me notes on conversations and let me know if I overstepped with opinions or advice, because I've learned that neurotypical people don't always want advice and opinions. Some people just want someone to listen. But she still shows up in my dreams, and when I think of her I tear up. She was like my sister. My dad still asks about her, and I had to tell him to stop bringing her up. I just hope that maybe one day I run into her and she'd be willing to talk. Maybe one day she'd be willing to unblock me and talk to me. I just wanted to get this off my chest. I doubt anyone read this far down. Hopefully no one I know finds this. I just needed to rant, as Reddit is cheaper than therapy. TLDR, I told my best friend's family about her life choices and she cut me off. I turned 40 this week and it pretty much sucked. I've been doing a lot of reflecting the last couple months as my 40th birthday approached. I realized the last time my immediate family, parents still married to each other, younger brother, and younger sister, was together to celebrate my birthday was when I turned 14. We may have all been together for my 15th since it was a Sunday, but I can't say for sure. My dad traveled for work during the week. When I was in grade school, he would leave Monday morning before I woke up and get home Friday afternoon. He switched companies and got a smaller but better paying sales territory when I was in middle school. That smaller territory meant he got home Thursday night most weeks and sometimes on Wednesday night. He never adjusted his routes, no idea if he could, or took time off to be home for anniversaries or birthdays for my mom, siblings, and me if it was a night he would normally be gone. As a result, he's missed more birthdays than he's been present for. The reason I remember my 14th birthday was because my parents asked me what I wanted and I told them the mysteries of the Sith expansion for Jedi Knight. I received shaving cream, razors, and styptic pencils in one gift and a fishing reel for the other gift. I was so disappointed to open a box full of toiletries. I felt disappointed but tried not to show it because that would have just caused problems. A few weeks before my birthday I sent a group text to my dad, early 70s, mom, late 60s, brother, 38, his wife, 33, and my sister, 33. I asked them what they were doing the last 2 weekends in June because I wanted to get everyone together to celebrate my birthday. I suggested a trip to the zoo because it would be fun for my 3-year-old nieces. Brother and his wife have twins. My sister was the first to respond and she said either weekend worked. My brother's response was kinda old to want to go to the zoo for your birthday, aren't you? I was pretty irritated and disappointed by his dismissive response, but it's totally on brand for him. He's never been particularly concerned with my feelings or belongings. I responded nope. I figured this is the only chance to spend time with your family until November. He lives about 300 miles away from me and it's been about a year since he was in my city last. The twins' birthday is in November and I see them then for their party. The last time I saw them was Christmas since they did Easter with her side of the family. They rotate who they spend Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter with versus a bunch of traveling to see everyone at each holiday. My mom responded with never too old to go to the zoo with 3-year-olds. My brother, Sil, and dad never responded to either of those texts. My mom called me the next day and said she would talk to my brother and Sil about getting some dates figured out and get a real answer from them when her and my dad went to visit them over the weekend. I told her that was fine, and said it felt like my brother's response boiled down to I don't care what you want. She felt the same way. I also told her I decided that I wasn't going to chase an answer out of them if they couldn't be bothered with a straight answer. My Sil finally responded 3 days later, after my mom talked to them, letting me know which weekend worked for them. Fast forward to May 31st. I'm hanging out with my best friend and brought up the above conversation and text exchange. We talked about how family can suck sometimes, and then made plans to go out to eat on my birthday. I told her I was wondering if my parents would text me this week to go out for dinner some night and how short notice it would be, since they live about 60 miles from me. I thought about it some more the rest of the weekend and was wondering if they felt there wasn't a need to get together around my birthday since we're getting together later in the month. The real elephant in the room was my dad since he was leaving on my birthday for a week-long fishing trip in Canada. Would he want to get together before he leaves? Him leaving on my birthday hurt. I wondered why he didn't delay the trip for a day or two. Is it because he doesn't care? Or he's missed so many, so what's one more? Or is it because that's when it worked for everyone else? Could it be that's when the lodge/cabin was available? I never brought it up because I'm not sure I want to know what the answer is. I finally got a text from my mom on Wednesday, the day before my birthday, asking if I had plans Thursday. I told her I did, but we could go out for dinner Friday night or Saturday at noon. We agreed on Friday night in a little town halfway between us. I finally got a happy birthday text from my dad on my birthday. Dinner Thursday night with my best friend was a lot of fun. I was stressing out Friday afternoon about dinner with my mom and admittedly wasn't really looking forward to it. Part of that was because I was tired from a stressful work week with not enough sleep and wanted to take a nap, and the other part was possibly overthinking all this and getting myself worked up. I was thinking on the drive up and wanted to ask my mom if her and my dad talked about meeting up with me before he left. It was a question I really wanted to ask, but I was really afraid the answer might be that my dad didn't want to meet up. That getting that answer would be a massive gut punch and probably the final nail in the coffin of my relationship with him. I decided against asking that question. My mom handed me a card at dinner. It was quite nice and thoughtful. And signed by only her. Realizing his signature, or my mom signing for him, was absent was a letdown. We talked and caught up over dinner. She asked if I knew my Sil was pregnant. This was news to me and told her that my brother and I rarely talk to each other. I asked how long she's known and she said since Mother's Day weekend, so a month. I asked if my sister knew and was told my sister found out the same time they did. Cool. I'm the last to know. Like always. I suppose some of that is my fault since I rarely reach out to my brother or Sil, but they also are guilty of not telling me about what's going on their much more interesting lives. I've found myself wondering if I'm being unreasonable expecting my parents to contact me to celebrate my birthday, or do I need to arrange it all? I don't think I am because my mom has reached out to me the last 7 years to set something up. They moved to the town I was living in 2016, which is where they both grew up. I moved to a small city about an hour away in 2021 and my mom contacted me in 2022 to set up dinner with the three of us on my birthday. Last year her and I went out to lunch on the day before my birthday because my dad was fishing in Canada that week. Thank you for listening to me vent. My friend died. I had a friend, someone I've known all my life who was from the wrong side of the tracks. We got along really well, from way back when we were teenagers. He was a couple of years older than me. Everyone from where we lived knew his name and reputation. I lived at the last bus stop on the whole route. He was the kind of boy who would be at the back of the bus smoking, usually accompanied by all of the local youths, listening to loud music and being the kind of teenagers adults looked down upon. I remember starting secondary school and being terrified of having to get the bus on my own. My parents sent me to the one furthest from our estate. Whenever I was on my own he would stop whatever he was doing, tell his friends to carry on without him and stay on the bus with me. He wouldn't move seats until everyone he knew was gone. As confident as you like he strolled down the bus and slid into the seat behind me, leaning over and asking me what I was listening to on my headphones, pulled one from my ear and made stupid jokes about boy bands. At first I thought he was going to steal my Discman but instead he got it from his JD bag out and asked to play it. He was surprised I knew some of the songs he was listening to. He would always share headphones with me and have new CDs he'd got copied. Sometimes he'd listen to my CDs too. He would wait the whole journey and get off at my stop. Sometimes we would just sit in the bus stop and chat. He would walk with me right up to the end of my road, watch me go into my house safely from a space where my dad wouldn't see him and then walk all the way back to his house or hangout spot. It didn't matter if it was raining or late, he was always there for me all through school and then college. Every day. I'd sometimes see him out and about in town and he would always stop whatever he was doing, and come and chat. Steal some of my chips and dip them in my ketchup, making a mess when I was with my school friends and making sure he made every boy I ever dated feel a bit intimidated. He was clever, and quick-witted and had a brilliant sense of humor. He could do impressions of everyone and knew what to say to boost your confidence. He would listen to all of my problems and give me the best advice. He always told me he was really proud of me. I ended up moving away and going to university. I remember telling him I was moving away and him saying he was really happy about it, but his eyes telling me a different story. He didn't come to my leaving party. I heard from others he'd already spent a fair few years in prison by the time I graduated. When I came home one Christmas in my late 20s he happened to be in the same pub in my hometown one evening and we started talking. From this point we never really stopped. He had been through all of the worst things life could throw at you, and although I know as adults we make our own choices, I genuinely believe that had he grown up in different circumstances life would have been very different for him. The whole system has let him down, from right at the beginning: education, employment, housing, mental health services, even prison. probation and addiction services. I'm really sad that he's gone. I fear to others he's just a statistic, evidence of broken Britain and an example politicians might reference in their latest campaign. The kind of person who people will talk about for a while until the next inevitable premature death. To me, he will always be the charismatic boy who looked out for me, and I will always feel like I could or should have done more for him. The world should not be stacked against you from such an early age.